Alright, what's up guys? In this video I'm going to pick up some linear algebra and we're going to be talking about Cramer's rule. So we're just asked to solve the system of equations using Cramer's rule. So we're given two equations here, x plus 5y is equal to 9 and 2x plus 5y is equal to 2. So the first thing that we need to do is set up the augmented matrix. That's the first thing that we need to do, and I'll explain further after that. So we need our augmented matrix. So in that case, just go ahead and get that. So we just take the coefficients, so we'll have 1, 5, 2, and 5, and then we'll have 9 and 2 out here. So what we're looking for in relation to Cramer's rule, and by the way, this can be done with 3 equations, but we're just doing it with 2 here. And so what we're really looking for is, we're looking for x, which is equal to dx over d, where d is the determinant of that. And then we're looking for, in this particular case, dy over d. And again, if we had 3 equations, it would just be a z in there too. So basically what you do is, or the first thing that we need to do is find the determinant of the matrix here that will denote d. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix, 2 rows, 2 columns. We need the determinant for this. So remember the determinant for a 2 by 2, let's just say I have a 2 by 2 matrix with the entries A, B, C, and D. Well, if I want to determine it, that's just going to be A times D minus B times C. And that'll get us our D. So in this particular case, we'll have 1 times 5 minus 2 times 5. So we obviously get 5 minus 10, which we know is negative 5. So we could say that the determinant, which in this case is denoted uppercase D, is negative 5. Now, in this particular case, we have positive numbers, but don't expect it to always be like that. Sometimes there'll be negative numbers. So if you get in a situation where it's negative numbers, make sure you're using parentheses and stuff like that. Okay, so now we got the value of d. So what the heck is dx, or d sub x and d sub y? Well, basically what you do here is we're going to take our 9 and our 2, and when we're asking for d sub x, we're asking for the determinant when we take this 9 over 2 and substitute it in for our x column and take the determinant. Now when we do that, we don't touch the y column. The y column stays alone. We're just going to take this 9 over 2 for d sub x and plug it in for our x column. Similarly, when we get the y to calculate the determinant for that, we take the 9 over 2 and stick it in for the 5 over 5 and leave the 1 over, or the 1 and the 2 unchanged. And it's not a hard concept to understand at all. So for d sub x, which is what we need, I'm going to take that 9 and that 2, and we're going to replace it. Oh, sorry, thinking division. Sorry, guys. We're going to take our 9 and our 2 and replace it. And remember, we don't touch the 5s. We leave those alone. Now we need to determine it again, and we already know how to do this, right? So this is going to be 9 times 5 minus 5 times 2. So this would be 45 minus 10, which we know is 35. So therefore, d sub x is 35. Similarly, to get d sub y, we're going to take the 9 and the 2, and we're going to plug it in our y column, which means that we leave the 1 and the 2 alone. We don't touch that. And then we got 9 and we got 2. Okay. Same thing, we need to determine it here. So this would be 1 times 2 minus 9 times 2, so that'll be 2 minus 18, which is negative 16. So d sub y here will be negative 16. So now, to finish it up, all we do is simplify. Get another sheet here so we can do it. All right, so let's just quickly remind ourselves what we got. So the determinant for our first one was negative 5 d sub x. And the only reason I'm rewriting it is because we went to a different sheet. It was 35 and d sub y was negative 16. So we just have to solve the equations now. So we need x. We know that's d sub x over d. So in that case, it's just going to be our 35, and we're going to divide that by negative 5, which obviously gives us negative 7. So we could say that x is equal to negative 7. And then for y, we need d sub y over d. Well, we'll just have negative 16 over negative 5. And 5 is a prime number. The only way we can get 5 is multiplying by 1. So in this particular case, the only thing we really need to do is just change the sign. So this would just be positive 16 over 5 because we can't reduce 16 over 5 because 16 and 5 have no common factors. So we have to leave it alone. So therefore we can say that y is 16 over 5. So therefore our final answer and our solution for the system would just be those two values for x and y. So our solutions are going to be x is equal to negative 7 and y is equal to 16 over 5. And that's Cramer's rule, and that's how you do it. Alright, hopefully pretty straightforward and nothing too bad. But again, if you got questions, let me know. You will learn this in pre-cal, but you'll see it again when you take linear algebra. It'll come up very briefly before linear algebra starts to get a little bit more complex. But they will go over the basics of solving systems of equations and stuff like that when you begin taking the course in the first part. So that's going to be your answer. So I'll see y'all next time. Let me know if you got any questions about it.